coming to you live from the Salad and Fries studio. With me, your host, Centron, and my special guest. Hey folks, I hope y'all can hear me. I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to this week's edition of Salad and Fries. I'm so happy that we have another episode this week. It is live all the way from the Salad and Fries studio here in the fabulous Atlanta, Georgia. Today is Martin Luther King Day. We are celebrating here in Atlanta. I am so grateful for all the contributions that MLK and other freedom fighters have done for us, because it allows for people such as myself to broadcast shows here live. It also allows for people such as myself who look like me to be able to go out and enjoy the freedoms that all Americans can enjoy. So I hope that on today you didn't have a day off, but rather a day on, in reflection of all the contributions that MLK and our other freedom fighters has done for us. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Salad and Fries. Today, we're going to be talking about keeping up with success. I have two fabulous guests that are going to be joining us. We are going to be discussing careers, mental health, dating, family. Please, guys, go ahead and make sure that you are contributing by posting your comments down at the bottom of the screen. And once you post your comment, we'll be able to see it and we'll be able to add it. Don't forget to visit salad-n-fries.com to go ahead and follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Don't forget, we're still working on that Twitter. So that Twitter's coming. But yeah, until then, just follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to share, like, and share some more, because everyone deserves a little bit of salad and fries. So don't forget, please go to www.salad-n-fries for all the latest and greatest salad and fries. All right, guys, it's time to get the show started. Time to get the party started. I have two fabulous guests. When I say two fabulous guests, I mean, y'all, they are like, I'm lucky and honored to have them on my show. I've known them a very long time, but their careers are like way over there. Like, they are like movers and shakers. All right, the first guest, I'm going to bring both of them on at the same time, but I'm going to just go ahead and introduce them. First guest is going to be Dante Shannon. Dante has been a CEO 3 times by the age of 40 in the association management space. He's been recognized as one of the youngest leaders in his field several times. He also enjoys spending time with his friends, going to restaurants, and mentoring other Black LGBTQ plus youth. Everyone give a round of applause for Dante Shannon. My next guest that I'm going to be bringing on is going to be none other than Maurice Smith. Maurice is the host and executive producer of the critically acclaimed podcast Category Is. He is also the owner of Paper Genius, a stationery and greeting company. Everybody, please go ahead and give Maurice a round of applause. Hey, fellas.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Everybody got their cups.
It's a sip kind of night, because it sounds like we're going to be talking about some stuff.
Listen, I don't know what's in Dante's cup, but we clearly see what's in Maurice's cup. Y'all don't need to know what's in my cup. Let's just know to get me through this interview tonight.
I have sober juice in my cup. So
listen, we'll deal with
it's dry January.
Dry
for some
January.
People, not for me.
Who does that? Dry January. So Dante, what's going on in your world? What's going on?
Nothing much. Just, getting prepared for 2022, whatever that has to offer, and, setting my intentions and working toward my goals I have for this year.
Now he's working toward his goals. He probably need to tell us what some of those goals are, but we'll talk about that later. Maurice, what's going on in that Paper Genius world?
Not much. Trying to stay warm like everybody else out here. We got a little bit of snow here in Philly today, but
other than
doing
that,
the best I can.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Well, I hope you both.
What's going on in your world sometimes?
Well, that's a whole story. Now, do I start from childhood and lay on the couch? Oh, well, basically, as we go through tonight, we'll probably know what's going on in my world. Really, the biggest thing that's going on in my world is just coming into 41, recognizing that you only got one life. You only live one life. So you need to go ahead and live with no regrets. So I'm trying to cross a bridge of no regrets. And it's been in the making for 10 plus years. Just trying to push up. Be like, yo, we doing this or not? So that's what's going on with me. Just trying to get to that place where I am comfortable and confident in able to walk and speak and say what I want from the universe and from this young man that I hope is watching. Because I did invite him to watch. We're gonna send
I didn't know this was a whole thing you were saying to him.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm putting it to the universe, you know. Hey, cuz, what's going on?
Okay.
I'm putting it to the universe to be like, yo, deliver. But yeah, just trying to go over everything that's on my vision board, you know. Trying to be like y'all, movers and shakers and hustles and bakers.
And shout out for the 41 birthday a few weeks ago. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby, like I said last week, these 70s and 80s babies, baby, we aging backwards. But honey, these other ones.
I'll let y'all represent on that. I got a few bags I can.
Child, you ain't got no bags. You ain't got no bags. Hey, Marielle, you know, I got to speak to the peoples as they come into the room.
Oh,
no, Marielle's a faithful salad and fries. Watch y'all. Hey, Jared, that's my boy. We love some Jared. And hey, Cassius, this is one of my family members from back home in South Carolina. So we're going to have everybody on today.
Nice.
So, yeah, y'all ready to get into this?
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous. Let's just jump into it. You know, just like your career. You're a CEO, Dante. Come on. You just jump into it, you know?
Mm.
So tonight, guys, we're going to go over several topics. We're going to talk about careers, mental health, dating, and family. And hopefully we can get around to discussing some media aspects. So the first part of our interview tonight, we're going to go ahead and let's talk about careers. So starting with Dante, just go ahead and tell. I know Dante's like, why he calling on me first? This is so you. Like, this is so you. Let the people know. And also, if you are watching, you can comment on what we're talking about in the screen. Just go ahead and type about how you view the topic that we're talking about. We're gonna go ahead and be doing everything at the bottom for the entire night. Mario said, Dante, you still look like you're leaving Maybank. Yes. She said, you still like you in your early 20s. Come on, Mario, for the comment.
I appreciate that, Marielle. Thank you for the kindness.
We are here for it. Hey, cuz, what's going on, Nessa? And yes, Lynette. Y'all, we got
look at Lynette.
Lynette's on here. Lady Z5B herself. Come on. We love some Lynette.
People
listen, I'm gonna have to bring Lynette on one day because you know Lynette be out here running these acting streets. But let me stay focused. So we're getting ready to talk about careers. Dante, what are some of the pressures you face to perform in your career? More specifically, as a CEO, a young Black CEO. Like, what are some of the things that you face, you know, trying to be successful or leading these organizations?
Wow, that's such a loaded question, John.
You got it. You can handle it.
I don't think it's any different than what any other of our colleagues who are here with us tonight or you guys, you know, face. Like, I encounter racism. I encounter, you know, barriers because of my age, my sexuality, my race. And so I've had to, you know, really push hard to overcome, you know, all of those things. I think some of the pressures that I also face once I'm like land a gig or once I get hired somewhere is to always make sure I am like not misrepresenting Black people, because all of the organizations I work for or been a CEO of, I've been the first Black CEO of these organizations. And so I always keep in the back of my mind, like, do not embarrass your people.
The ancestors are watching.
Right, exactly. So, you know, and that comes with an added pressure that my white colleagues don't necessarily have, right? And so, like, I feel like I have no room to fail. I have no room for, you know, error when I'm performing. Though it does happen, you know, I make mistakes. I, you know, do things that are not, you know, always the right decision to make. But I'm harder on myself because I know like I'm the first black person. I don't want these people to have a certain perception of black people, or I don't want them to say, we ain't never hiring another black CEO again. So, I have those kind of pressures on myself. I think one of the other things that comes up for a lot of me and my other colleagues who are CEOs is imposter syndrome. So I know I struggled with that a lot in my first CEO role because I was always asking like, okay, why did they pick me to be here? Like, and do I deserve to be here? Do I deserve to be at the table? And it was intimidating for me, but I've since grown out of that. Now I know that I'm at the tables because I have earned my way at the table.
Well, you deserve to be at the table. Let's be clear.
I've earned.
They are privileged to have you at the table as the first black CEO and leader of the organization, because now you done bought, it was just regular flour. Now we bring in the seasoning and we're making the organization and the chicken taste better when they eat into it. I'm just saying. That's just my perspective.
I appreciate the fried chicken analogy.
I'm just saying, it's either bland or it's popping. Which one is it? It's been bland. That's why they brought you on. Think about it. It was like, no, we need to bring some diversity in here.
Listen,
the seasoning. We can't. That is an added pressure, I would think, as being young, one, black, two, and being probably the first one that they're experiencing. You're like, oh my gosh. Like, that's a pressure. Every day I have to get up and think about how are they going to view me today? What should I do when I walk into this place? It's 2022 and we're still having this conversation that, hey, when I walk into this place of business, regardless of what my role is, BI, CEO, CFO, COO, the janitor in the building, why is it that it's like, okay, I got to prepare myself to represent my ancestors, and so that they feel comfortable. No, it's so we all should feel comfortable around each other. It's weird. But every part of the world has its own kink. I think in the U.S. we're more racial, whereas my experience with traveling is more so of where you're from or your religion, and not so much of what you look like.
Yeah.
So.
And it's I remember Centron, sometimes I'll be at dinner with like a group of people and I'll look at the menu and I want fried chicken really bad. But I'll be like, nope. Like, don't you order that fried chicken. You're
gonna hit the stereotype.
Yeah.
Well, let's be clear. That's everyone eats fried chicken. No matter where you are in the world, everyone eats fried chicken.
Yes.
I mean, when I was in Australia, everyone was eating fried chicken. I mean, the people from the Philippines, they was killing it. I was like, it's not a black dish. That is not. I think we as African Americans from the South have kind of adopted it as a dish of representation because I believe because we've lost the, how can I say this? The dishes of our past, such as jollof rice or anything else. Because we don't have those things, we had to create our own. So now we automatically assume, oh, fried chicken is a black thing. No, fried chicken, fried snake, fried raccoon, fried squirrel is a world thing. Everybody likes their stuff fried, scattered, smothered, and covered. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but that just goes to like the pressures that I have to think about. And I'm sure my other black colleagues have to think about too. Like, we have to think about all that kind of stuff and how we're representing. I don't know how it is for you, Maurice, but.
Well, I was going to say, kind of to piggyback off of what you said about you have to not only think about everyone that came before you, you have to think about everyone who's going to come after you. And you still have to set that example because like you said, if you present a bad example, then, someone who comes in 5 years, 10 years, they might not get that same opportunity because, if they had a negative experience with you. And I think that when we are in those situations or we're the only person in the room who looks like us, the only person at the table, it's one thing to just get a seat at the table, but you also, like you said, you want to eat too. You want to have the same opportunities that everyone else who's there has as well. So like having that pressure of like, it's just weight. Like every time you get into a meeting and you look around the room, look around the Zoom and see who's there, it's like you're the only black person. So now you have to be on. you know,
Yes.
and you have to present that best example and that best representation. And that's, you know, that's hard.
So and one other story, I'm trying, we can move on, but one of the things also that I realized that my white counterparts don't have to do, like as soon as I walk into an airport, I have to turn on, because there have been times I've been in the airport and like my members will be in the airport, right? So I don't even get that space to myself, right? It's like as soon as I walk in the airport, I got to be on, because I might see somebody or somebody might be on my flight. So it's a lot of pressure, you know, to deal with.
And it's interesting because, as Marielle stated in the comments, the pressure to not misrepresent is real, but don't get tired. And I think that's the part that we have to make sure we're focusing on is yeah, we want to make sure we're being the best that we can be for the brown people.
Yes.
However, we also have to recognize we're still people at the end of the day, and that is a burden that no one should have to carry all the time. Be conscious of what we're going to talk about after this section, the mental health. We got to stay on point and making sure we're not tiring ourselves out just to keep up or just to make sure we're representing ourselves and our culture.
Right.
Yeah. So, Maurice, how do you feel you must perform in order to be successful in your working environments?
So
or even with your businesses too.
Yeah. So kind of the saying that, you know, we have to work twice as hard, you know, to get almost half as much or whatever. And that is one thing that, you know, is kind of like Dante was talking about. Like once you get there, you know, you have to put in all of this work, and you have to work at such a higher level, perform at such a efficient level. But then, you know, you can get burnt out. And it's like, I worked so hard to get here, and now I feel this pressure because I'm here. I want to stay here, or, you know, or continue to go up. So now I have to work even that much harder. So it's like almost a cyclical kind of repeating thing. But, you know, personally, I don't like the struggle. I don't like the hustle. I like my free time. I like my work-life balance. And so I, you know, like to carve out that space and that time where I need to do something very creative, because my day job is very data and numbers and, you know, performance and things like that. And so the way I'm set up, I need a creative outlet in order to kind of maintain my mental health. But, you know, that was kind of part of the thing of like why I wanted to create my own business, was I needed that creative outlet. And so it was like something that, you know, I was doing already, like kind of on the side. And then once we entered like into the quarantine work from home situation,
the panoramic, not the pandemic, the panoramic, because it's just all around us. That's what a panoramic picture is. It's all around us.
And it's like, you know, I just needed to take that time. So it's like, it's the balance of everything, you know, just you want to be successful, you want to stay successful, but you know, you don't want to get burned out as well. So
now I will say with this next question, this is the topic that Dante, you and I have talked about before. And specifically, it's like, how do you feel being authentically you? How do you feel it impacts your career and your career choices? Because I think sometimes I can say for me, as a Black gay man from the South, I sometimes look at careers and say, is this going to be a career in which I can authentically be me? You know, am I going to have to worry about when I go to work, is someone going to judge me because of who I choose to love, what I look like? You know, I'm curvy too, so, you know, I got to deal with that too, you know? So it's, how do you all choose your careers, and how do you feel being authentically you impacts those choices and your careers? Dante?
Oh, I gotta go first. Yes, you and I have talked about this a lot, and I'm going to be extremely vulnerable and say that has not always been at the forefront for me especially when I decided to be a CEO, right? I felt like I was a little safer when I was like a manager or a senior director, or, you know, working in other roles in my career. But becoming a CEO, because I really wanted to do that, I more so looked at the opportunity and how I needed to mold myself to be what they wanted me to be for that opportunity. Now that I'm matured in my career, I'm a few CEO roles in, I think it's starting to transition for me where I'm realizing, you know, I have to be who I am because it adds to the effectiveness of me doing my role, right? So me trying to be someone else is only going to, number one, shortchange me,
Mhm.
and my board, they're not going to be accustomed to working with diverse people, right? They're not going to be accustomed to being exposed to other types of personalities, other ways that people work. If I'm always trying to be one of them, right, and getting work done. And
Mhm.
so I've recently kind of leaned more into really showing up authentically, and I admit I still struggle with that in my role
Okay.
now. There's still a part of me that's scared to just fully lean into who I am and be able to contribute. But I'm doing, I'm going at my pace, what I'm comfortable with. Um, every time I'm engaging with my board or I'm engaging with my staff team, I make it a point to be as authentic as I'm comfortably being with them when I'm engaging them. But it's a journey. I'm still on a journey to that.
But it's okay because I think when we are, as you said earlier, when we are 100% authentically ourselves, within the scope of what we are doing for that environment, I think it makes it easier for us to be more effective at our careers. Maurice, what are your thoughts on it?
I think earlier, like in my career when I was younger, and I was on at a different point in my journey, I was more of like I wouldn't necessarily, I'm very private also. And
Mm.
so I don't like to like volunteer my information or my business at work
Same
because I'm
here.
like,
Yeah,
we're not
They don't
friends.
need to
We
be
just
in our
work
business,
together.
correct?
exactly.
And so I would keep things like very, compartmentalized and very segmented. And then as I got older, I was, like, it wasn't like I guess I got more comfortable with myself and being able
Okay.
to, be who I am and not care, what what people think or have to say about it. And I think as we continue like in the panorama situation, more people,
Panoramic.
I think there's less pressure to kind of have those in-person events like for work. So you're not in the office all day, every day. You're
Right.
at home, you're in an environment where you feel comfortable, you feel safe. And so I think people, and you also have that digital kind of distance in between you and everyone else on the screen. So you can be yourself and be who you are and,
Right.
not really care because the interactions with like those people, you don't have to be in the same, cubicle or office with them for the majority of the day. So, I think it kind of, is making a lot more people a lot more comfortable with themselves and who they are.
I will say this in closing with this section about careers. As I've told you both before, I took a master class with the legendary Anna Wintour of Vogue magazine and Condé Nast.
I did
And the
hers too, Centron. I did hers too.
the one thing that I learned as it relates to our careers and when we're working for employers, the biggest takeaway I took from Anna is one, don't let people feel comfortable to waste your time. That's number one. Because when you let them feel comfortable, they will waste your time. And with that being said, as it relates to who I am, what I look like, who I choose to love, I can't let you waste my time. So I'm not going to allow you to feel comfortable enough to even approach me in this environment in which it is not conducive for you to ask me those questions. That's number one. But number two, the biggest thing that she said in this masterclass was, and y'all, I said that was like writing notes, like preach, Anna, preach. But the next biggest thing she said was essentially be yourself when you go interview for a job. She said, don't lie, be authentically you. She said, because if they want you, they'll take you for you. She said, because if you're fake and they hire you, you're going to hate your job. You're going to hate being there. At some point, you're going to get burnt out and you're going to want to quit. It's like, but if you go in and be authentically, 100% authentically you, and they hire you because of you, your skill set, and the diversity that you bring to their organization, she's like, you're going to go very far with that organization and you'll do well. So I just wish that more people, as it relates to our careers, please be authentically you. There's always going to be pressures to perform. There's always going to be pressures for you to make other people feel comfortable. And I get that, but you have to be authentically you in that environment. Your company should be hiring you for who you are, and you should work there because you feel comfortable working there, because you feel like you are a part of the team. Guys, that was hot.
That was a good wrap up.
Okay, you gotta wrap it up like it. The producer in the background going like this.
Been trying to yamba.
Listen, not on my show. So the next section is a serious section, but I think it's one that we need to go over, and that's the whole mental health section. Because the mental
off and let y'all talk.
Listen, this mental health section is like, I think it's just essential for work, play, life, relationships, everything. It's a topic that I don't believe we talk about. We don't broach. We don't. When I say we, let me specifically say for me and my house and my community, I don't think we talk about it enough. So I was like, I want to definitely broach this mental health thing to see how you guys feel about it. So we're just gonna jump right into it. Maurice, how do you feel COVID? Y'all know they're like, dang, he just fired it out.
Right.
I'm still learning how to be Gail and ask those important questions. You know, I'm just saying. Maurice, how you feel COVID has impacted our abilities to manage mental health?
So in the beginning, I think it was just such a free for all with everyone because we were just dealing with it all at once, and no one really knew like what was going on, how is it going to end, like what's going to happen. People's kids were home, and like now we're all working from home and things like that. For me, I was thriving because I am a homebody. I'm an extrovert when I need to be, but I'm more of an introvert. So I was enjoying like not having to take a commute every day. I was reclaiming my time.
Reclaim your time.
Yes, Maxine. And so for me, it was more of having more time in my day where I can do what I want to do. I understand that a lot of people have home environments that are not, conducive to their mental health, like coworkers who might have, an abusive spouse or be in an abusive relationship, or they got a bunch of kids that are just running around acting crazy. I don't have them kids running around. So I have to deal with like homeschooling the kids and like all that stuff. But I
Ray, have a seat.
Exactly, them baby kids in the background. But so I understand. Like I try to be compassionate or empathetic to people who are in those situations. But it's hard because you're working from home, but you're also living at work. So it's harder to disconnect from that computer. It's harder to take care of like your home stuff during the workday. So it's like a lot of people are struggling with that. And so that's a struggle that I, can try to empathize with and understand. But, just for me personally.
Okay. You was fine.
Good. Yes.
Marty's was like, no, I was good. Because you, again, from our last section of career, you was removed from that environment. Now you're at home. You're like, ooh, I don't have no pressures. I don't have to worry about nothing. Your mind is saying freedom. So, Dante, with you having to go into office, or you having to interact with more people during that time, I mean, you were kind of mixed. Like you had to interact, you didn't have to interact. Like, how did you handle your whole mental health balance with work and life?
So like Maurice, when the pandemic first hit, I was like,
the panoramic.
Sorry, the panoramic.
I'm just messing.
When the panoramic first hit, I was like Maurice. I was like, this is great because I'm an introvert naturally. And I was like, oh, finally, I don't have to travel nowhere. I can work from my home, and I don't have to be bothered with people, when I don't want to be. And then around a year in, I was like, okay, I need people. Like, I gotta be at a dinner. I gotta do something. But I was going into my office during the pandemic because that got me out of my element. It was one of the things I did for my mental health because it got me out of my apartment. It got me out of the environment I was in every day. I also learned about what I learned about myself is that I have to be working in different types of environments. I cannot stay in one environment too long, which is part of why I enjoy my role as a CEO, because sometimes I have to be in the office. Sometimes I have to travel. Sometimes I'm at a dinner. Sometimes I'm at a conference. I get to be all over doing all kinds of different things, which is good for my mind and for the way that I work. I think socially, for me, what I realized again is that I needed to have some contact with people. Like I enjoy going out to eat. I enjoy going to restaurants, and not being able to do that. It's something about, and I know people who were watching this might say, Dante ain't go nowhere anyway. Like he's in the house all the time anyway. But it's something about when the choice is taken away from you, it's different, right? I no longer had the freedom to kind of go out and do the stuff I wanted to do because I was told I had to stay home. So it did take a toll on me on my mental health. I actually ended up hiring a therapist to talk to because I also noticed I was having a block with my work as well. It just felt like I got up every morning and really had to overexert energy just to open my email, or to get on a conference call. And especially with a lot of the stuff we had going on at the time with George Floyd and all the other murders that were happening of Black men in the country. Like one day I just sat down and I just started crying. I have no reason why. And I just said, I need to talk to somebody. And so I ended up deciding to hire a therapist. And she's been wonderful in helping me really process, what's happening in my life, what's happening in the world, the right way. I always tell people mental health is great because it gives you supervision in your head, which you need sometimes. Sometimes you cannot be in your head alone. You need somebody in your head with you, just kind of saying, no. We're not going down that path. We're going to go down. We're going to make a right. We're not going to make a left. Right.
Well, y'all know I got a million hamsters running around in my head, so they all be good on their little hamster wheels until somebody do something and one fall off. Then we're gonna have a problem. Yeah. And it's funny, Dante, because you made a statement. You said, "I recognized that I needed a mental health professional," which leads me to the next question, because having a mental health professional is not a common thing in our community. We were always taught, if I have to go to a mental health professional, which we call shrinks, that means I'm crazy. There's something wrong with me. I am broken.
Or you need to just pray about it.
You need to just pray about it. You just need to go down on your knees. You just go to that. And let me be clear for my people who my religious folks, there's nothing wrong with going to the Lord in prayer.
It is not.
But also, when we go to the Lord in prayer and we ask for the resources and the tools to get to where we need to be, you don't think that the Lord sometimes places those mental health professionals in your path to guide you where you need to go? I'm going to just leave that right there on the pot. However, okay, don't get me started now. Naughty ain't on here. But so Dante, like, with that, when you made that decision, it leads me to this question of how do you feel mental health has been viewed in the last couple of years by our community? Like, how has our community viewed? How has it changed, or how have you seen it evolve over the last couple of years as it relates to mental health?
I think it's becoming more normalized. I think there's still a ways to go, right, in the culture of in the Black community, because there's still people I'll tell, like, I have a therapist, and they're like, "Oh, is everything okay?"
Okay.
Are you? Or I'll get a pat on the shoulder, like, a little rub on the back, like, "Oh no," like, as if it's like a bad thing, like, "Oh, you must be really going through it." And even when I talk to my parents, my parents are like, "Why are you talking to somebody? Like, tell us what's going on." And so I still think it's viewed as a taboo or bad thing in the Black community. But I think we're making leeway. I think as more people, especially celebrities, as they start to normalize it, the Black community starts to normalize it too.
Maurice, what are your thoughts?
I disagree.
Go for it.
Because I think there have been strides made in normalizing taking care of your mental health. However, I think that it's also become such a buzzword and such a hashtag self-care that you lose the impact of it, because if you are in tune to like pop culture and things like that, people, you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta and they got that same therapist that they talk
On
to
every
all episode. Exactly. You watch Real Housewives of Potomac, they go to that same therapist and he give them a little, buzzword here or there. And people think, oh, she went to therapy. She's, really taking care of herself. And it's like, really?
But is she really?
Is she really? Yeah. And then let Kanye have an outburst any day of the week, and people are down in the comments going off. So, I think that I don't know what it's going to take to like really normalize it, and not just normalize it
for us.
Yeah, for us to get people to really stop saying Black people don't go to therapy, we go to church. It's like, yeah, that's one, for, like you said, the people who are into the church and that's really important to them. But people go to school for this. People are trained to handle this. Like, you wouldn't go to, if you break your arm, you're not going to just pray about it and hope that it gets better. You're going to go to a doctor, someone who's trained to treat that. Like, if you get any kind of, like, if, it's like, we have to make it more a part of like everyday life, everyday conversation, to not just say, oh, you going to a therapist, what's wrong with you?
Correct.
Yeah.
And once we get past that hurdle, I think we'll have, it'll be better, but I think it's a long way to go.
I agree with you, Maurice. I think what we have to do is start going to see people and talk to people when things are great, right? Like,
right.
Not just when things are going bad, or it's at a point where we need to talk to somebody. I think you're right. That will contribute to us sort of moving past this culture of I don't think we have a culture where we go see anybody medical at all, like not even a doctor, when we need to go see one. And I think, of course, because there's a history of distrust with medical professionals in the Black community, but I think we have to get past that at some point if we really want to.
But we also have this history of like keeping things
to ourselves.
Don't go there telling my business. When I started going to my therapist and I told my mom, she was like, don't be telling her about me. It's like, what are you talking? It's like this kind of hesitation, like, what are you going to say? Or like, what are you going to tell this person who I don't know about me? So it's like, that's one thing too that we kind of have to get over as well.
Well, I want to say with, there's a ministry here in Atlanta that I used to be a part of. And in that church, they recognized the fact that people believe I have to go to church for my mental health, to get it fixed, to get it addressed, to get it dealt with. So what they did is not that they played on the religion, but they had a lot of licensed mental health professionals on staff. And to make it easier for people to speak with them, they would say, oh, you can go speak with Elder so-and-so, and she'll talk to you about what you're facing right now. And you go and sit down with Elder so-and-so, and next thing you know, you in a full-on therapy session. And then Elder so-and-so is like, this is my card. Let's work outside of the church. Like, that's how they were using it at my church. Like, there's a very big therapist here in Atlanta. Her name is drawing a blank. But she would come and she would speak and she would say, today I was walking through church and I realized some of y'all didn't take y'all meds this morning. And I would be like, oh, she reading the kids from the pulpit. She was like, y'all need to make sure y'all taking care of y'all mental health. Make sure y'all come see me. And I'm like, okay, they really using this. So I think there are institutions, religious institutions, that are incorporating it because they recognize that people want to run to the church to be prayed for their mental illnesses or their mental health. Let me say mental health. But at this point, I think it's moving. It's not moving as fast as I think it could move, but I think there is some movement. But we also need to make sure that going to see a therapist is not a fad. It's not a, oh, girl, I got my Birkin therapist. Like everybody got a Birkin bag now that Cardi B has Birkin bags. I'm like, well, first off, she ain't paying for those Birkin bags. They're free. But either way, it's like, oh, well, she got a therapist. Let me go get a therapist. No, if you understand why you have a therapist, I don't want it to be a fad, but an actual, I need a therapist. So if you're watching today's Salad and Fries, please make sure if you're having any thoughts, be it happy, sad, you just want to talk to somebody, please reach out to your local health specialist. Most companies, most employers do offer complimentary EAP help, or where you can speak with a therapist complimentary. So just reach out to your employer or go on your benefits site. That way your employer doesn't even know. You can use your benefits and you can get some free therapy sessions. So please make sure you're taking care of your mental health. So we done talked about careers. We've talked about mental health. Now let's talk about dating. Dante, don't leave this topic.
Dante has left the chat.
Listen, Dante has left the chat. Dante is like, I don't want to talk about dating. That don't apply to me. Lies and fairy tale. So this dating topic, I wanted to talk about it. I know it's a lot for everyone. More specifically, me right now where I am, when I'm turned 40, what went through my mind was, I don't want to date anymore. I was like, I don't want to date. I'm good. I'm fine. I was still living in New York. I was like, I'm good. I don't want to date. And the reason why I decided that I didn't want to date at that time was Mario said she got her tea. Okay, Mario, we got our tea too. So at that time, I made the decision that I did not want to date because essentially, I looked at my relationships with my friends, and I looked at how long it took me to build those relationships with my friends. I have relationships 15 plus years, and we know each other. Like, we know each other. I know when Dante gets up. I know when Myron goes to bed. I know how they're feeling. I know what Brian likes to eat, what he doesn't like to eat. Like, these are the things that I know about my friends. And I said, we don't have an intimate relationship as it relates to someone dating me. And that's taken a long time for us to get here. Now I'm trying to date someone and get to the same place with them that I'm with my friends, and I'm 40. Child, I'll be 60 by the time I know him. I was like, I can't. But I was in my head. Again, one of my hamsters fell off, ran away. I need to find a replacement. So bringing it forward, now I'm here in Atlanta. My friends was like, you should attempt to date. And I said, ooh, Father, I don't know about that. This Atlanta, this market out here, these kids here, they don't leave Atlanta. They haven't experienced the world. So they're stuck in this box. But there is somebody, but we ain't gonna talk about that. So we're gonna jump into these questions. So Maurice.
Yeah, Maurice.
We're gonna go to Maurice. Maurice is like, yeah. So, Mr. Smith, like, how is dating for you? Like, how has dating been for you? Mm-hmm.
I'm not out here in the streets. Oh,
what'd she say, Bill?
Oh, see.
I'm being messy.
Messy.
Miss
What's
Tina.
in that cup? What's in that cup?
Just a little Miss Tina. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I am not out here in these streets. Me and my boo will be celebrating our 5-year anniversary in a couple months. But I hear that the game has changed. It is not like it used to be. So
the kids out here vicious.
Good luck.
So with you and your relationship, how has I will say this. What do you feel makes it work for you two?
You know, I think at the heart of it is that we challenge each other. Mm-hmm. Like, we are so different, but we work, like, we mesh. Like, the parts where he's like very outgoing, and like I said, I'm very kind of introverted. So like we kind of he kind of pushes me when I need to be more extroverted, and I can bring him down when when he needs to be. Yes, and then he's very he's like the very inspired one. Like he has an idea, he wants to do it. Let's do it today. And I'm the more practical one where I'm like, okay,
wait a minute.
well, here are all the steps. Let me do the research. Let me get my spreadsheets together. Here's all the data. Here are the facts, and I kind of plan everything out. So we have the same idea. We'll have like a goal, and then we can work towards it together. So that's kind of what works for us.
That you both yeah, I'm pouring more in this cup. So essentially what you're saying is you all balance. You have your way of communicating,
right,
and talking. You created your world for each other.
Yeah.
And with that world, you're able to maneuver the relationship part.
Yeah.
Now,
how was your dating process?
Mine?
Part.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, when we first started dating, on the advice of my therapist, I was dating multiple people at the same time. I'm a serial monogamist. And so in my therapy process, she was like, stop dating with intention, just date. Like go out on a date, just go have fun, do, what it's going to do. And I still had my spreadsheet of all the dates I went on. I categorized them, I color coded it. And so I was like kind of dating two people at the same time, which is something I'd never done before. And so, but then at a certain point in time, you have to make a decision. It's like, I can't keep doing this. So, in essence, I chose
your partner.
Yeah.
He was the one. When did you know? See, Don said this has become a whole interview with Mari. So when did you know? Like, this is it? This is the one. This is who I want to invest in.
So as cliche as it is, I probably knew like the first date that I was interested. It was more about, am I intrigued to go on that second date with you? Am I intrigued to go on a third date with you? Like where do I see this going? And so and it was good because in that situation, like I said, it was multiple people. I was like kind of not comparing them to the two of each other, but like in essence, it was more like you had something to compare it to, basically. And so when it came time to make that decision, I was like, okay, this is definitely the one.
And it's funny that you say that. It's not funny, but the fact that your whole process around identifying the one, as it relates to him, you knew, like something said, hey, this is it. Let's invest in this.
Yeah.
And so for me, I will say, as it relates to what Lynette says, dating nowadays is actually. Oh, Lynette says, I have no words. Lynette, it's like that, friend. We need to talk about it. As it relates to me going on what you're saying about you knew. So I'm just going to put it out there. I'm just going to talk about this little quick situation real quick because we got some other stuff to talk about. So 2009, 10-ish, I went to dinner with my friends here in Atlanta. And we had this one friend in the group. He always bought the flavor of the evening to dinner. I'm like, girl, you always bringing the flavor. Always bought the flavor of the evening to dinner. And I really didn't date. I frolicked here, but I didn't date. But this one night, the flavor of the evening was bought to dinner. And the flavor of the evening sat next to me. Y'all, all I could say was my universe at that moment said, this man should be your husband at some point in the future. Like, that's all I knew. It didn't say nothing else. It just said, this man needs to be your husband at some point in the future. And I don't know if he recognized it as well, but there was something about our energy that night at dinner that everyone recognized. The person who bought him was looking at me like, I will jump across the table and gut you like a fish because I don't like what's going on between you and this man. Like we literally was talking to each other without talking to each other verbally. And I would just ask him questions. And one question in particular, I asked him, I'm not going to put everything out there because then he'll know I'm talking about him. Mm-hmm. But I asked him a specific question about how he's viewed as a Black gay man. And his response was what I wanted at that time in my 30s and even now in my 40s. It was the response that I wanted to hear from my husband. Like, dude made me feel like we're going to walk down the street and I dare somebody to say something to us. I dare you to pop off. But I felt so comfortable with him. And like now when I see him like through my 20s, through my 30s, and now my 40s, every time I see this man, I am nervous. Y'all know me. I can talk. I'm going to be myself. This man walks in a room and I'm like, child, fade in the background. I mean, he makes me nervous, but in a good way.
Yeah.
But I will say all that to say, like, I've attempted to date it, and that feeling that I had with him has only surfaced to a degree with one other person, and it hasn't surfaced with anyone else. And I just feel like a lot of people are out here dating. Yes, they're having fun, and there's nothing wrong with having fun, but I think we need to learn how to listen to our gut. We need to listen to what our universe is telling us internally. When you go interview for a job, they know within the first 30 seconds whether or not they want to hire you or not. When we go on a date, we know right then and there pretty much, I think there's a possibility that I could want to go on another date with this person. This is somebody I want to date. Mario, you're so silly. Shoot your shot. I already told you. Go on, honey. Take a chance. I'm going to take a chance at some point. I just, I got to get my mind right. But yes, I will say dating has changed for everyone, and I think you have to listen to your gut. I'm glad you listened to your gut, Maurice, because now you're celebrating 5 years with your significant other, which is a milestone in our community. Mm-hmm. However, Dante, I just need him to chime in because he's sitting there like, they skipping me. Good. Dante, I already had a question with your name on it. Like, how do you feel, or what do you feel impacts your ability to date? It could be positive or negative. What do you feel impacts our decisions in how we date, when we date, why we date?
You want me to speak in general, right?
You can speak for you, and then you can go general.
So for me, I am not a dater. I think I've dated probably 2 people in my lifetime, like seriously dated 2 people in my lifetime, and I am 40 years old. So,
but they were significant.
I think what I've learned from dating is a lot about myself. So when I date someone and it doesn't work out, instead of thinking about like, oh, the relationship ended and whoa and crying, I think about like, okay, what did I learn from that relationship for myself, right? And I think what I've learned for myself is that I am not someone really who enjoys dating or being coupled up. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the company of other people. I just don't enjoy it consistently.
Gag, Maurice, gag.
I am someone who, like, I love, again, like I said, I'm an introvert, and so I love my space. I love being in my space by myself. I love to do things by myself. I love to go to the movies by myself. I love to go to concerts by myself. Every now and then, I like to have company come with me, but that's where I feel like my friends come in. Or if there's someone that I'm interested in or that I, am attracted to, I'll say, let's go hang out and do this. But that does not mean I want them in my space enough to date them, consistently or to be with them long term. I think my vision for myself in the future is not really like, I don't see myself married and coupled up with someone. When I think about my future and I get excited about it, I'm by myself, but I'm very fabulous, and, I have all my stuff together and I'm supporting my family and I'm traveling the world and, I think when I see myself in the future, I see myself as an independent person, right? Not necessarily coupled up with someone. And so for me, I carry that aspect into like how I'm meeting people and engaging people now. I think I recently had a situation where I met someone in Charlotte, and I think there was some miscommunication too, and I was still learning about myself as well. I had to be upfront and say I don't think a long term relationship is really what I'm looking for, and that person was looking for that, right? So I had to kind of be honest and upfront about that, and just say that's not really where I'm headed. Where I want my life to be. It's cool if we kick it every now and then and hang out, but for some people, for some people that's not, that doesn't work, and for some people that does work, as well. And I think, when we date, I'll go general now. I think what a lot of people, especially in our community, when we date, sometimes there's a wrong intentions for dating, right? We're scared to be single, right? We're scared to be alone, and that's why we date. Or we want to date because we want to show other people that we are worthy of love, right?
It's a validation, yeah.
Giving us attention and loving on us, and so we want to prove to other people that we're deserving of that, and that's how we do it, by dating other people. But for me, it's just it's different, and I know Centron knows this too, because I'll tell a quick story. When we were in college, I was dating somebody, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, you're dating so and so," and they were like, "Why aren't you like on the phone with him, or why aren't you hanging out?" I was literally in my college dorm room reading a book. Like it was I was not concerned really about. I've never really been concerned about dating someone or being married or being coupled with someone. It's just I haven't been wired that way, and I think it took me. But like I said, it took me a while to realize that about myself. So.
But Maurice, what's the crazy part?
Oh God.
The crazy and weird part about our whole relationship, be it through college, be it through our 20s, our 30s, and even to now in our 40s, baby, when we was in college, my mindset and my friends' mindset were not the same. Dante knows mindset. They were like, we going to class, we need to study, we need to focus on our career. Boys come later. I was like, boys come now, because I need to get married. I need to get up out of school. I don't care about this. Like, honey, and it's always been like that for me. It's always been, I want to be a homemaker. I want to be a philanthropist. I want to raise money for music and arts for kids. And I want to have a husband and children. And I want to have this fabulous home. Like, that's always been me. I've been consistent until I got older. Then it changed a little bit. Well, if I get married and if I have kids, well, let me focus on my career. But at this point, I'm almost dang on 40. Like, girl, you should have.
You're still young. You're still young.
I'm still fabulous. However,
that's true.
If me and this boy get married, I can tell what we gonna do. But I will say it's everybody's wired differently.
Right.
And at one point, being transparent and honest, I used to be like, "What is wrong with my friend? Why my friend don't want to be with nobody?" And I realized, my friend is like Oprah. I don't want to be married to you. I want to be fabulous. I want to travel the world. I want to take care of my best friend's children and give them great gifts and babysit and dog sit and whatever other thing.
Now we're taking some liberties on it.
Okay. Like the benefit of having a friend who don't want to date nobody.
Yeah, I'm not the uncle you drop your kids off.
Have a good night. We go on a date tonight. But I realized that there are some people who just don't want to date. And I like the fact that Dante is able to identify that and say that versus some other people who are out in the dating pool who they don't say that because they haven't been able to identify that for themselves. So you got to be careful on who you date also, because you got to make sure you're in tune with what you need for your universe and try to listen to what the other person is saying directly and indirectly about their stuff. Y'all,
I think we do also, though, have those things that we want very much for ourselves, right? Like, I know, Centron, you and I often talk about you wanting a family, right? You want a husband and to be married and to have children. and Maurice, I don't get to talk to you often, but I'm sure you have like certain ambitions that, or you would love to be married one day to your husband, and possibly have children. I don't know. And for me, the equivalent of that is my career, right? Centron will tell you, I will go crazy and drive myself crazy all day about my job. I will not drive myself crazy about somebody else at all. But
it's 8:00.
You know what I mean? Sorry.
She telling us to get off. She said, "Girl, this interview is over."
But no,
thank you, Miss Theory Girl.
I have, for me, that's what like my ambition. Like when I see myself with something or with somebody, it's really being successful in my career and being accomplished and being respected in my career. That's really what I want for myself. And that's the thing that I feel like I can't be without, right? In the long term, it's not a relationship for me. It's really my career.
And Marielle Johnson, our faithful Salad and Fries viewer, has stated, kudos to Dante for knowing what it is that you want. Thank you, Maria. That is so true. But Mario also said, marriage is hard. I just want y'all to know I can hear her saying this. Marriage is hard. Because Marielle does listen, you have a fabulous family. Maria, you have a fabulous husband and 2 fabulous sons. Mario's like, it's too many men in this house. That's why I can hear. I heard this whole story, and marriage is hard. I just heard the whole story.
I know it's work. Yeah.
It's work, but I think for the right person, it's worth it. It's an investment. And it's not, how can I say this? It's not late. Not my question. Now my husband questioning me. Uh-oh, Mario in the hot seat.
Yeah, don't start nothing. Please don't start.
Right.
But yes, so I will say it's dating, being in relationships is work. And you both should be putting it in, and I think it should be mutual. And I think when you both are making a contribution to the investment of a long-term commitment with each other, you end up being together forever. I will say this. I like to listen to old love. And I'm not trying to get dark, but my best friend, mom, died recently. And when I went to see them, her dad was there, and her dad just didn't look, he just didn't look right. I was like, okay, he's mourning. It is what it is. So she pulled me aside and she was like, Sin, I'm really concerned because my dad said, what's the purpose of being around? My best friend is gone. Like, to hear her say that, like, that kind of hurt my heart. But the only thing that went through my head is they are so in tune that I said, well, just be prepared. And I told her, I said, just be prepared in the event something happens. And literally 2 months later, her dad died. It was like, you could just see their love and their bond. And I was like, I want that. I want when people look at us, they see that connection, that bond, that energy. I want to, when I'm with my partner or with my husband, it's like, I love you. Like, I want our heartbeats to be the same. Like, I know I'm probably going off into La La Land, but these are just the things that I've always wanted and desired. And I've seen successful relationships, and I know that I can have that. We all can have that. But it's just a matter of everybody identifying what's best for them at that time. Any other dating tidbits, feedback before we move into the next section? Y'all good? Awesome. Well, we're at that hour mark. So, and I don't want to keep y'all all night. But I do want to skip down to the media real quick. I just want to hit this.
Fun, so.
You did what?
I'm having fun. You can keep me on that.
Yeah, we can go all night.
Oh, no, we can't go all night because I got to get, I don't know. He might text me and be like, I just watched your show and I think we need to go ahead and just skip the dating and get married. So I can be like, yeah, where you want to get married? We can go anywhere. I got these free. Let's do this. He is an Atlanta man, a true Atlanta native. Atlanta natives are different from transplants. Let's be clear. If you want a man, you get you a true Atlanta man, born and let me stop. I done gave away all the boy information. Now everybody know about you. Need to go watch the show because Centron have been talking about you all night. I've been talking about him for the last 10 plus years, but we're gonna move on.
Do you think he knows who you're talking about?
Say what?
Does he know who you're talking about?
If his best friend is watching, his best friend is saying, "Yes, best friend, he's talking about you."
Okay, then, best friend, yes, let's hook this up.
But in my head, I'm saying, please, best friend, don't be because I talk to his best friend about everything, and I'm like, please don't be telling him what we're talking about because
tell him everything.
Don't tell him. But I've shared with one other person here in Atlanta, and they're like, "Oh my God, y'all would kill it together." And I'm like, I know, but we're gonna move on. So let's get into media and reality and all this good stuff because y'all know what I do for a living. And I can only speak on what I deal with at work and how I feel sometimes the media has created this narrative that people believe is reality. And therefore, they watch TV shows and they go out and they try to reenact what they see on TV because I can't tell y'all how many times I have gone to the back of the aircraft and mama in the back saying, "I don't know who you talking to." And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not the Love and Hip Hop reunion show. So what we're not going to do is pop off on the plane. Let's bring it in. Let's calm it down. So I want to talk about more specifically a reality show, aka HBO's Insecure, that actually I feel created authentic or realistic narratives for us. Like, how do you feel shows like Insecure, not the other shows, because that's a whole nother demographics of people, but how do you feel shows like Insecure have had an impact on you personally as well as in pop culture? Either one. Dante, going for it.
For me, it's been refreshing to see more realistic stories of Black people being told and different stories of Black people being told. I think for a while, I don't even know other stories that were being told besides what we see on like the Housewives of Atlanta or like other reality. I think there was like a big reality TV burst over the past few years. So to see stories like Insecure and telling stories of like 4 Black girls, college educated, and kind of how they are going through everyday life, dealing with stuff that all of us really have also encountered in our life. I thought it was extremely refreshing and validating for the experiences in the story and my own story as well. Me and Centron always talk about who I am out of those.
Molly. But see, Molly ended up getting a man in the end.
She did.
Molly got married in the end. I'm just saying.
I mean, out of those 4 characters, but I'm most like excited for Black women, really, to be able to kind of see themselves and connect, and for them to kind of be like, "Oh, I went through that too," or "I dated a guy like that too," or "I go through that at work as well." To kind of see it and know that, oh, this is real, right? This is my who I am is being validated. What I'm going through is also being validated, and I'm not the only one.
And I think this show specifically, I feel for our group, for our generation, for our age group, we connected more. Like we could watch the show and I would be like, Dante is all Molly. And then we could watch the show and be like, Centron is all Issa. Like every episode, everything that she did is something that I would have done. The oddness, the talking to myself, everything she did throughout that character did throughout the whole season. Me and Dante was like, oh my God, that is so me. Like on the last episode when she was saying she was with, I think she was with Lawrence and they were being intimate and she made that whole Dizzy Gillespie. I was like, oh my God, that's something I would do. It's so awkward. It's so out of place. You're like, girl, where that came from? But I like this show because I feel it was realistic. I could identify with it as something I could take home. And I think the other shows that we won't talk about. It's not that they promote a narrative of being overly ethnic and urban, but I don't think people watch it with the intent of viewing it from an entertainment perspective. They're like, oh, these are real people. This is how they live their life. No, friend, it's all scripted. It's not real. When they fight on TV, they don't go to jail. But when you fight in reality, you go to jail or you don't wake up the next day because somebody done popped you again. Pop off if you want to. Maurice, with your podcast and with you being so heavily engrossed in pop culture, how do you feel like the media and things that we're involved in, how it's impacted people and us and the decisions that they make?
Yeah. So Tens for Issa Rae, who created this kind of template of how to do it. She started off on YouTube doing Awkward Black Girl, which people they weren't really up on Awkward Black Girl like in the beginning, but she did that for a while, and then she parlayed that into
at Stanford. Let's be clear.
She parlayed that into an HBO deal, and then now she's like the template. She's the blueprint of like how to do it, and representing, not the ratchets, the more kind of a different side of us that doesn't get exemplified as much as it, or amplified as much as it should, because Ratchet brings the rating sometimes, but having a real kind of authentic template like Issa did, like it was amazing to see. And then you have shows like Harlem, which is on Amazon Prime. But then, have you seen a show called I May Destroy You by Michaela Cole?
I haven't watched it, but didn't it get a lot of awards?
So she won was it the Golden Globe for writing, which was
another
really
pioneer.
Cool. Which she was the first Black woman to win for writing. But like that show is it's a much deeper topic than the light and the awkwardness of Insecure. But to see these two Black women who have like the drama of I May Destroy You, which was phenomenal. If you have not seen it, watch it like today. It's dark, it's deep, but it is showing like a different side of like something that we don't really talk about like as well. And then you have Insecure with Issa Rae's Light. It's, and in that like 23 minutes of time, the ability to tell a story is just like amazing. So I think the two of them have just kind of taken and given Black women more of an opportunity to kind of represent for Black culture.
Agreed. Yeah, I can agree more. There's another show called Run the World on Stars, and that's also a story, or telling a story of 4 Black girls who live in Harlem. You know what I mean? And I love that these stories are popping up, because when you see one Black woman, you have just seen one Black woman, right? And so all of these different shows are showing the wide variety of Black women that exists in the world, and we need more of that. Now, what I am missing, and I don't know if anyone used to watch Suits.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
I need another Jessica Pearson on TV. Yes. I used to watch her and be ready to go to work the next day. I love Jessica Pearson. And if any of the producers or whoever is connected to some sort of TV show, please make something with a woman like Jessica Pearson, because she also was like somebody we needed to see on TV. She was a high-powered attorney running a high-powered law firm in New York City. You know what I mean? A Black woman over like all these folks. So we need more stories like that.
Yeah.
I think there are more shows in general that I think can impact us. Again, as Maurice said, Ratchet brings ratings.
And the money.
And the money. It really does. It brings the ratings, the money, and the sponsorship. Now, let me be clear. All Ratchet is not bad, because y'all gonna judge me when I say this. Y'all gonna judge me. But I can't cuss. I live for Cardi B. Cardi used her platform. Cardi is smart. People sleep on Cardi. Cardi B is so intelligent. They're like, how is that loud girl? She used her gimmick to get her in the doors to where she is. This girl has homes everywhere. This girl has cars. This girl has fashions and don't spend a drop of her money. She has her money stacked because she doesn't have to spend it. The girl is intelligent. She learned from being in New York. And I always tell people, everybody in New York are hustlers. Everybody in New York are hustlers. She grew up in the Bronx. This girl learned at an early age how to hustle the system. And she used the system to her benefit. She used the show to her benefit because the only thing you said was, oh, she's so loud. Because I remember the first time I saw her on TV, I was like, who is that loud, ratchet urbanite? Like, that's the only thing that her. But I remembered her. And she kept being herself. She kept doing the same thing. Just like on, what TV show was it? Being Mary Jane. She played a character on Being Mary Jane, loud and ratchet. And I was like, okay, this girl knows branding. She is branding herself. She's making herself be memorable. And what people are saying is, okay, Ratchet is bringing ratings and money. Next thing you know, this girl is in Paris. This girl is wearing Balenciaga, Hermes, designer. Yeah. They are coming after her. She's not coming after Belcalis Almanzar is not coming after them. They're coming after. Yeah, I said her government.
She don't gotta dance. She make money moves.
She used to dance, but that dancing, I think that exposed her to, girl, you got to be smart. You got to do this, and you have to. If you understand her background, she only danced in a particular demographic of club. She only danced in Russian clubs. Let's be clear.
Oh,
she didn't just be out here passing it around like these other girls. She was very strategic in where she performed. Let's be clear. I did my research on Cardi. I was like, how did this girl become who she is? And I realized, I was like, okay, she is out here doing her thing. But as she's been getting more well-known, you kind of see her changing a little bit. Like, she'll make an announcement about voting. She'll try to do stuff for the community. She always gives to the community. She makes sure that people see her giving to the community. So she used her platform. So not all ratchet is bad if you use it to your benefit, but most of them don't use it to their benefit, and they just be looking bad. But I will say, I've seen some of them in the airport. I'm like, girl, you is hot. You is beautiful. Now, I don't want to take a picture with you, but you cute though, friend. You cute. So yes, media impacts us. We have to do our research. We have to go out and do what we got to do. It is now what? We're at 1:17. Do y'all guys have any wrap up feedback? Dante, anything you want to say? Final thoughts?
I just want to thank you for inviting me to be on your fabulous show. I finally get to grace the screen. I think this is a wonderful thing you're doing. And, I support you 100%. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak my voice and talk from my perspective.
Well, I'm always honored to have a CEO on my show, a real CEO.
Not a real one.
A real CEO, unlike me, honey. I'm the CEO of Salad and Fries, executive producer, CFO, COO, and marketing director.
And I think my parting words would be, everyone, just live your own authentic life to the fullest.
And how can people find you, follow you, if you would like them to find you or follow you?
So I am on Twitter at Dante P. Shannon, and I'm also on Instagram at Dante P. Shannon. You got that consistent branding right there.
That consistent branding. So what we will do is I will have Dante's information on the website. And Maurice, final thoughts, final words. How can they get you? Tell about your business, all that good stuff. Plug, Cash App, My App, Zelle,
yes,
all that good stuff.
All of that. I just want to thank you for having me on the show. We go way back, like a long time. And, it's just good. Always good to connect with you again. And I'm just so proud of everything that you've done, like throughout your career and everything. So thank you. So thank you for having me on. I feel so honored to be just in your orbit. And I'm very appreciative. You can find me. So as we've mentioned, I am the host of Category Is podcast.
A very successful, international, critically acclaimed podcast. Let's be clear. You have ratings, you have years, you have bars on bars on bars. Let them know. Don't play down Category Is, friend. I am honored to have you on my show. I'm done.
So as you know, we are in season 4. If you have not checked out Category Is before, we'll be starting or resuming the episode. We're on our winter hiatus, but we'll be starting back next Wednesday at 12 noon is when the new episode will drop. Category Is Pod on Instagram. And you can check out my business, which is Paper Genius. It's a greeting card stationery company, papergenius.com. And you can also find us on Instagram, which is @papergenius.
Awesome.
Can I give one more also shout out to my webcast group, Text the Table? I don't know if you guys watch that, but we do that every month. It's a show with 4 Black CEOs, and we're just talking about our experiences as Black leaders and some of the things we deal with and have to go through. But it's Text to Table. Text is plural. Texttotable.com. Thank you.
So I will have all of their contact information on salad-n-fries.com for everyone to view. I want to thank both you, Dante and Maurice, for joining me on this episode of Salad and Fries, where you all dropped some very good nuggets for everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. I hope you all grabbed something that you can apply to your life as it relates to your career and being authentic, as it relates to mental health and acknowledging what you need and don't need, as it relates to dating, how you should date, when you should date, why you should date, all that good stuff. And then finally, how the media has impacted you. I hope you found something that is worth eating out of that salad that we just threw up for you. So on the next episode of Salad and Fries, we are going to be featuring, it's going to be a 2-part series, one in the month of January. I'm going to be having some very influential business owners on Salad and Fries. One next week is going to be Cakes and Pies, because we're going to be talking to none other than Lamar Wilson with Cakes L'Amour Bakery in South Carolina. We're going to be talking about what it takes to run a successful operation and essentially his background and how he ended up being where he is today. So make sure you tune in next week. That's going to be January 24th at 7 p.m. Same Salad and Fries station here on YouTube or Facebook. You can make sure you go to salad-n-fries to get more information. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, guys. You're amazing, and we'll see you on the flip side.